Hey there everyone, and welcome back to Kastology, the show hosted by yours truly, where I look into obscure things and other stuff I like, either to try and give a new perspective, or to bring more awareness to it. Alright, so, picture this. The year is 2011. You love playing Astro Boy Omega Factor on the Game Boy Advance. So, with this love for Astro Boy, you're browsing Amazon, and you find this Astro Boy game for the Wii, you know, the console you actually own, unlike the GBA. So you ask your parents, and you buy it. You eagerly wait around a week for it to come, and when it finally does, you put the disc in, you boot up the game, and... Yes, as you can tell from the thumbnail and the title, this game is ass. Astro Boy for the Wii, more like Astro Boy, because boy, that game is ass. This was a tie-in game released to coincide with the 2009 movie. I don't know how good the movie is, but it seems to be from the same studio as the 2007 TMNT movie, and that movie was actually pretty great, so I assume this is just a case of the tie-in game being shit. Okay, but seriously, you might ask, what actually is the problem with this game? Well, I'll stop fucking around and get into it. This is shovelware, and a pretty bad one at that. But why is it bad? Well, let's see... Bad models, terrible cutscenes, bland soundtrack, terrible controls. This game is just a cheap imitation of Astro Boy Omega Factor. And that game was what got me into Astro Boy when I was a kid. You can understand why I'd be so pissed off going from such a great game to such a terrible knockoff game. I think I have a distinct childhood memory of playing this game for a bit and reaching this part where I was literally just spamming the 2 button or something. And at that point I realized this was the worst game I had ever played. Nothing would ever top this. I could list off a ton of games that could be considered bad, and even those games aren't as bad as this. What's that? You want a list? And now, all the bad games I've played, brought to you by SoniKast. Sonic Labyrinth, Nickelodeon, Party Blast, Yakuza Free, Sonic Blast, Sonic and the Secret Rings, CBZ, Taiketsu, Sonic 4 Episode 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Hero, Sonic Advance, Sonic 3D Blast and still. And I can keep going with this song because I can't think of anything more. Okay, look, this is Astro Boy Omega Factor. It looks great, right? It's very fun. The controls are snappy and pulling off special moves is satisfying as hell. Now look at this. This is Astro Boy the video game. This is like comparing Sonic 2 and Sonic 4 Episode 1. I have to be honest, I'm just going off of what I remember as a kid and this video I found showing gameplay of the game. So I guess the video doesn't really work if I don't play it. I really don't wanna... Okay, fine, I'll do it. First off, the channel animation. Let's just move on. The game probably starts after an endless succession of menus. I choose Hero difficulty because I'm based and I start story mode. Okay, I was expecting something a bit worse, but I guess this is how they decided to start off the game. Clips from a movie with a narrative speaking over them. There's something really off about this, and I can't really put my finger on it for some reason. So the plot is the average Astro Boy plot. Dr. Tenma and Dr. Elephant create a robot called the Peacekeeper, powered with blue and positive energy from space. But the only problem is something about how it creates red negative energy or something. But then the president of Metro City decided they should use the red energy instead of blue energy, since he is a genius. And so they do it. The Peacekeeper goes haywire, they manage to contain it, except sadly, Toby, Tenma's son, gets stuck with the robot and he dies. So, distraught, Dr. Tenma goes all Robocop and decides he can rebuild him with science, and so he does, and somehow with all his memories intact despite him having died. Now he's powered with the blue energy and Toby is now reborn as Astro Boy. But enough plot, on with the game. I start off in the house playing as Astro, and the game lets you get familiar with the control scheme. It's okay, definitely not Omega Factor, but I can sort of let it slide. Speaking of Omega Factor, they really tried to recreate it. Same special moves, same overall controls, and you can also supposedly upgrade Astro's powers, but there's less to upgrade than there was in the GBA game. The only real difference is you can't pull off combos like you could in Omega Factor, as when you press B to attack it just does the same move over and over again. By exploring the stages you can also come across hidden objects that give you cheat code, such as a cheat code to get the original Astro Boy costume. Looking more into it, I might be a bit too harsh on the game since it seems like this was actually a PSP game that was ported to other consoles. As for the devs, apparently this game was made by an American game studio called High Voltage Software. Not gonna lie, when I started the game and saw the logo I legitimately thought there was something wrong with the game. The experience includes 32X, Jaguar, Saturn, and PC games in the 90s, and more recently, Fortnite itself. If that's not an indicator of quality, then I don't know what is. Alright, I don't know how to transition out of this into the ending, so... Go, Journey Test transition! In the end, I think it's not as bad as I remember it being, but it committed the ultimate crime, being forgettable. Why do you think bad movies such as The Room get such a fan base? Because it left an impact on the viewer. It's so bad it became good. Same as for great movies like The Matrix, for example. There's always something memorable. That movie's case is probably the kick-ass theme song or the epic slow motion moments. Now, imagine if The Room had none of the funny stilted lines and bad acting, was just terrible with nothing memorable about it. Well, no one would have liked the movie and it would have been left forgotten by the sands of time. This is exactly what's happening here. I went into this game as a kid without realizing it was shovelware, and thus I had high expectations for it. When I played the game, it was so boring that my mind ended up twisting the truth, and making me believe it was a much worse experience than it actually was. I'm completely aware I'm making this into more of a big deal than it should actually be, when you consider that this is just some shitty tie-in shovelware game from 2009, but it really impacted me as it's actually the first game I've played that I truly considered to be terrible at that point. And it was like a wake-up call which made me realize that bad games really did exist. So in a way, I guess I really will never forget about this game. Sorry about Kastology. I don't have much else to say here. This video was actually quite difficult to make, as this is a game I'd much rather forget about. I don't really even have trivia on this. Besides maybe that 80% of the script had been done weeks ago and it took me some motivation to even just turn on my Wii and play the game just to see if it was as bad as I remembered it being. But as always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode.